Beautiful people, welcome back to this YouTube channel. This is the Olele Salvador Network OSN, and you are logged into another exciting episode of In Case You Missed It. Now, this is going to be a combination of In Case You Missed It and DTS Intelligence. The name, of course, is Emmanuel Sapod, but you can find me anywhere, everywhere on social media at Olele Salvador. And we are going to get right into the conversation. When was the last time you paid for data? And even if you did you get value for money?
Sometime in 2022, if you bought 399 cedis worth of MTN mobile data, you would get 214 gigabytes of data. Early 2023, and that same amount will get you 182 gigabytes. And now in 2024, though the 399 cedis offer is no longer available, there's 350 cedis. Like we wouldn't notice what was being done. And that gives you about 93 gigabytes of data. In terms of value for money, in 2022, a CD was worth 536 megabytes and then down to 456 megabytes in 2023. And now a CD is worth 265 megabytes. In percentage change, 536 megabytes to 465 megabytes is an increment of 15%. But 456 megabytes down to 265 megabytes though, that's a whopping 42% increment. And that's wild. What does the future hold though? Is the trajectory going to continue? Is the next increment even going to be worse? And how long do we have until that happens? With Starlink being illegal and
Now, that was from the brother Hanscom. He is a a content creator, and he's just an animator who does so well with really putting information in visual data. All right, he's able to visualize data through animation, and he just did that for the MTN conversation. That is what is going to help us deep dive into the conversation that we're about to have right now. And if you just joined us, please do well to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Thank you so much to our existing subscribers for making this channel the fastest growing channel on here. We do not take it for granted. Thank you so much. There's still more to come. So please do well to keep the notification bell on and like the videos and share the link as well. Now, Ghanaian tech YouTuber and tech commentator known as Tech in Tree or Tech Tree this morning woke up with a little bit of violence in him. He heavily criticized the National Communications Authority on social media for failing to benefit data consumers with their regulatory decisions against MTN Ghana. The NCA's regulatory actions have reportedly led to higher cost of data for Ghanaian consumers, and this has caused a public outcry and calls for the dissolution of the NCA board under the campaign #dissolve NCA board. Now, Tech Tree did not stop there. He went further to highlight the disparity in data prices, where he pointed out that MTN is offering significantly cheaper data in Nigeria compared to Ghana. I mean, that is arguable because if you want to talk about the market share and the market size, it could have an influence in the conversation. But there's also another side of the argument where if data is expensive regardless of the market share. So we'll get into that. He also called on the vice president to address the affordability of data prices as part of the country's digitalization effort, because the vice president has been very vocal on digitalization and the digitization of the economy and so on and so forth. So it really falls within his purview. But I'll tell you how the vice president's bids or the juxtaposition, the contrast actually with the vice president's position on this particular matter is a very interesting one. But it will interest you to know that this wouldn't be the first time something like this, like a campaign of this nature, has happened on Twitter. Ghanaian sports journalist Sadiq Adams, also known as Sports Obama, he led a similar fight in 2019. And, I remember he put out certain tweets. Let me see if I can find them for you. He says, a lot of people are investing their future into mobile data, not because they are aimless, but because they want to stay connected, stay up to date, and acquire knowledge online. Mobile operators have thus taken advantage to milk Ghana data is expensive. Maybe save our data demo coming soon. Now, this is in December 2019 when a tweet like that came up. But there were a lot of tweets. Sadiq Adams was championing Save Our Data campaign, in that year because it became a very serious conversation to have. If you look at some of the tweets that are rolling your screen, you notice that he was highlighting some of the challenges that people were facing and so on and so forth. And then he also revealed that they were able to meet leading stakeholders, i.e., heads of these various communication institutions, including that of the current Minister of Communications, Tesla Usu. At the same time, to South Africa was also dealing with a similar situation in that year. But I think for them, they were able to succeed in getting the Vodacom and the MTN dems to reduce their data prices. Now, many of you will wonder, how did we get here, and why are we, for those of you wondering what happened with the demonstration or what happened with the demo. I think Sadiq Adams in a tweet said that the police did not allow for that to happen because of the timing or so. That tweet will be on your screen as well, so that you can look at it, so that we can go straight into the fact. So how did we get here? Now, it would interest you to know that Sadiq Adams' fight got the Ministry of Communications to get MTN to compensate some users who felt that they had been cheated in the data distribution or the data that they pay for. They also introduced non-expiry data bundles as a way of response to the earlier fight. But here's what you need to know, and this is where and how far we've come regarding MTN in particular. For those of you who used to buy MTN data, you used to spend a lot of money on MTN and having that kind of loyalty with MTN, how you've been able to work with MTN all these years. This is how we got here. Okay, so I'll try and explain a few things I gathered, based on statistics, facts, and data provided or data available on the internet. So in June 2020, the National Communications Authority, NCA, they declared MTN as having what we call the significant market power, popularly known as the SMP. And that was because they believed that MTN controlled over 75% of voice, data, SMS, mobile money, and revenue share in Ghana's telecom industry. So you can see the screenshot there, where they do the breakdown, and you can clearly do the combination, or you can do the addition, and you notice that indeed MTN was doing over 75% compared to their fellow comrades. So because of that, the NCA instructed MTN to avoid having the lowest tariffs for any electronic communication device. This means your phone, your modem, okay, or even your tablenet device, okay. So your mobile phone, so far as it's a device that could be used for electronic communication purposes or services, this instruction was very much direct to MTN. All right. And this, of course, will definitely make MTN less attractive to its existing consumers and the ones who would look to join the bandwagon. So, what did MTN do? MTN decided to increase their prices across its services, and that was what started the widespread customer dissatisfaction from you and I. But the NCA didn't stop there. They also publish guidelines to control the frequency of tariff changes, and just to ensure that MTN does not price its products and services below what other telcos are offering. What that means is MTN cannot price any of its products and services more than 10% higher than the highest price other telcos are offering. Does it make sense? Due to this instruction and guidelines that they've implemented, MTN cannot price above 10% higher than what these other telcos are offering to you. So even if it is not quality and it's not good enough, and in terms of what these other telcos are giving you, MTN, who may be doing a better job, will not be able to price theirs higher. So what's happening now is they are giving you a particular data package that you used to pay for, right? But it's in tandem with what other telcos are offering. Just that with MTN, you are paying the same amount, but you're not getting the return in value. Yes, that's what it means. Okay. So, to the best of the NCA's knowledge and reasoning, this decision they took was aimed at preventing exploitation of customers. Now, that is why there was a revision and a discontinued promotional data package or packages like MTN Data Zone bundles. So if you look at the screenshot on the screen right now, you notice that MTN put out a presser because at the time Ghanaians were complaining about, what happened to the data zone bundle and it was one of the best bundles they had and blah 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 blah. MTN had to release a statement to that effect. Okay. Now, I'm not too sure. I can't confirm with it because I'm not an MTN user, but I can't confirm or deny if the data zone bundles are still active. And even if they were still active, they are not the same anymore. Okay. Now, traditionally, NCA does not regulate tariffs. Okay, but it's been compelled to initiate the process towards tariff regulation solely because of the existence of MTN now being regarded as an SMP. And so, in as much as they do not have um, the power to do so, they are using, or they are going through section 252. Yes, they're going through section 252 of the Electronic Communications Act 775. Now, what this law does is it empowers the NCA to regulate the cost of services to prevent any one provider from exploiting its dominant position. Okay, so the NCA can also ask either SMP or non-SMP telcos to fix their tariffs at a particular level to avoid undue price adjustments. All right. The NCA can ask either SMP or non-SMP telcos. So in this case, ask either MTN or Airtel Tigo, Telecel, Glow, just name it, to fix their tariffs at a particular level so that it avoids undue price adjustment. But this is where the problem is. And I am not an expert, okay? I am not an expert, but after doing a few readings here and there, experts claim that for more than 3 years, that is from 2020 to now, after MTN had been declared an SMP, there hasn't really been any positive change in the industry structure or trajectory. The competitors, in other words, the other telcos who were supposed to benefit from the SMP regulatory interventions, have lost subscriber base and market share because the truth is, and they've not been able to invest enough to enhance their networks and match MTN service quality, which of course has resulted in the customer still sticking with MTN. So you notice that people complain and complain about MTN, but they're still with them. Because when they go on the other side or they go to the telcos, they'll be paying for data at a reasonable price, but it's not as great as MTN. Okay. So despite the price hikes, MTN customers have not significantly moved to other networks. Instead, they have continued to grow at a faster rate than before. And according to sources, their subscriber base has increased by 12%. And that's not all. The overall industry revenue numbers makes it worse because MTN is still holding almost 90% of the total mobile finance revenues. A lot of people are on mobile money. A lot of them. A lot of them. So basically, per the public backlash and outcry, it seems like in the last 4 years, the NCA's focus has been on just regulating only MTN's dominance rather than encouraging competitor investment in network quality. So the government of Ghana, of course, through the hands of the Ministry of um, Communications and that of the NCA, have been behind why you are paying more for less. And there's also another school of thought that the government of Ghana reportedly has shares in both Telecel and Airtel Tigo now 80 networks. And that's why um, it seems to be, even though these claims are unsubstantiated, there are claims that there are claims by experts that they did this just to strengthen, these other telcos to match the quality of MTN. But it's obviously clear that the oversight has failed. It's failed to create a competitive market that benefits consumers in terms of both price and quality. Now, there's a favorite account on Twitter that I always look forward to when such conversations pop up, and that account is GH Law Trends. When this conversation popped up and people were, obviously adding their voices and creating awareness, the GH Law Trends Twitter account posted something according to what the law says and what the law states and what the law allows. Okay. And I read, he says, the NCA shall perform its functions with regard to the opinions of consumers and members of the general public. And this is in Section 5H of NCA Act 2008. So the question they're asking is, why is the NCA not listening to the displeasure of citizens and the public? It didn't end there. You have them continue saying that the members of the board of National Communications Authority shall be appointed by the President. Section 63 of National Communications Authority Act 2008 states so. And he says the Minister of Communications, Esla Wusu, has the power to override the decisions of the NCA board on policy matters under Section 14, subsection 1 of the NCA Act 2008. So clearly, this is what the laws allow for a better policy implementation to make everybody happy. Now, my challenge is I'm not too sure why MTN needs to suffer, quote unquote, the brunt, especially with this whole SMP regulation. For years, when MTN entered the market, they built their brand, their customer loyalty database, their services, offered premium services systematically. It was incremental, it was progressive. Whilst the other telcos were sleeping, MTN came into the market and they approached it strategically. When they started their campaign of everywhere you go, we thought it was just one of them great brand copies or great brand ads, you could come across from a telco. But truly, I stand to be corrected, but truly, MTN is arguably in every region or every village in every region. They've been able to spread their wings so wide and they constantly invest a lot of money, including the taxes they pay. So if there's anything at all, Ghanaians are saying that why aren't the other telcos who want to match up with MTN? In this case, now these telcos that I'm talking about, Telecom and Airtel, are um, equally owned by government. Government has reasonable amount of shares in these telcos. Why are you not investing into these telcos to get to where MTN is? And the truth is, it would take a while for them to get to where MTN is because these guys have been moving with the speed of light. These guys saw the vision early and they've been moving, right? We shouldn't suffer. We as customers or clients shouldn't suffer because imagine a country where the minimum wage is nothing to write home about and you need to buy data. You need to spend a lot of money on data. On Twitter this morning, I saw someone complain about how, he's been given an option or offers from MTN to spend one Ghana cedis for 16 megabytes in 2024. How? Why? If the gentleman isn't working, or in this case, the citizen is not part of the workforce or the employed workforce, or it's not part of the working population, and they have to, manage their resources to make ends meet, they have to deal with some of these challenges of being able to afford data. And I was saying all the time that, you may say, okay, we should jump on the other telcos, and that is a conversation of personal preference. But here's a challenge: going to the other telcos or subscribing to the other telcos is not the problem. The problem is the quality of the data you buy. It may be cheap, it may be reasonably cheap compared to MTN. But I tell you what, you pay for that, and that is you paying for flight lessons. Yes, because by the time you are done using using the data, you would have flown to various countries around the world and back, and it still wouldn't be better. We've had complaints from customers who are using other telcos in their bid to run away from MTN, and that is what they are facing. They run away from MTN to go into flight school. Every single day, 1 minute BR, you have to turn on flight mode and turn it off. Me myself, I do it. I've suffered that. I personally do not think that this is solely, hinged on NCA. I think the ministry can take it upon themselves to look at it again, like the law suggests. The minister needs to look at it again. The minister needs to pay attention to the outcry, the public outcry of the citizens who are direct consumers of the product. Tech Tree or Tech in Tree juxtapose, how MTN is offering even better value for a cheaper rate in Nigeria. Like I said, you can't really use a Nigeria example because the market share is bigger than us. Imagine when I used to pay about 350 Ghana cedis at the time for TurboNet data, also for 200 something data. And now you are paying about 350 cedis for 92 gig. It's not even up to 100 gig. It's not even up to 100 gig. You don't understand Nambi. You don't understand Nambi. Let me tell you something very interesting. In 2019, our Vice President, M. Baudigidi, he had a lecture at the National Theatre, and at that lecture, he reportedly said that, he had met with the then CEO of MTN Ghana, who was the person of Selom Adedevo, and the conversation was on how to reduce data cost. In 2020, NCA slaps, an SMP on MTN, and Ghanaians have been paying more for less data from MTN Ghana. I mean, arguably so, because when you look at the campaign that started in 2019, obviously before the SMP, we already had our data challenges. Like, you are paying more and you're not getting value, but this time it's gotten worse. The pressure has gotten worse and worse. It has been deepened. And fast forward in February 2024, still the current vice president leader of the ruling party, Dr. Baumia, as part of his digitization campaign, promised to reduce the cost of internet data for Ghanaians if elected to lead the country in general elections. Ladies and gentlemen, the future is here. I'll leave it here and I'll let the experts speak more on this matter. As for me, I can only amplify and bring it to you. And, let's have a conversation. What do you guys make of this conversation? What do you guys make of this directive and the direction that we are headed to as we look to see government intervention in such matters? Because, like Tech Tree said, Dr. Bamia, this would be very critical to your campaign because you have been the leader of such conversations, and we are looking forward to see you speak on it now, because this whole conversation of driver and drivers mates, about the barest minimum, sometimes is daunting, sometimes it's stressful, and sometimes it really makes us take a second look at ourselves and see if indeed we are in a country that is led by leaders who are empathetic to the same constituents or to the same electorate they come to for their votes. I mean, I'll leave that, like I said, I'll leave that to the experts and see what other ways or how we can, resolve this and bring it. As for us, we are just consumers. Like you watching me right now, you are paying a lot to watch me because of the data that you're consuming. I want to say thank you for that. Please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like this video, share, let people know what's going on. And just in case you are wondering why Dissolve NCA board is trending, this is why. See you in my next upload. Bye bye.